Wilbur Chapman, retired chief of patrol for the NYPD. They're very careful to call this a person of interest and not the suspect, but it is a very clear picture of this person's face that they want to desperately talk to right now. What do you make of the status of the investigation and the evidence so far?
Well, this is a perfect example, morning, of how quickly situations can change and how fluid actions are during a major investigation. Yesterday, when Mr. Hamilton was first shot, there was a concern whether this was a random act of violence or a targeted shooting. Through great detective work and through forensic evidence, it clearly is a targeted shooting at Mr. Hamilton, either by a disgruntled employee or someone connected to his company in some way that's concerned about whatever adversely impacted him or someone he's close to. The actions of leaving those markings on the casings and leaving them prominently to be found is certainly something that indicates that there was a professional reason why this individual was targeted. The surveillance cameras that showed his movements afterwards indicate that this is someone who knew in advance where Mr. Hamilton would be, knew an escape route that would make him anonymous by disappearing into Central Park and using a city bike so that he didn't get stuck in Midtown traffic. So this was a carefully planned incident, and as it develops, we'll find exactly what the motivation of this individual was.
The CEO is Brian Thompson of United Healthcare. As you look at the evidence so far, how critical, Wilbur, does the public become in identifying who this person of interest is and getting that information as quickly as possible to police?
Well, they've developed from what was at the scene and from talking to witnesses that this information has been out to the public, now showing this photo. There will be individuals who quickly identify him. And in addition to that, the detectives may be working on finding a location where this particular individual was staying and getting a warrant issued to search that location, which will, if he is at that location, give them an opportunity to question him to find out what exactly his role was, if any, in this incident.
Prior to this, there were some threats against some of the executives for the insurance company based on reasons you might suspect, people who felt they had been wronged or their coverage had not been granted. How important will that be in this investigation, or first getting this person in custody? How do they prioritize all of these tasks?
Well, first, you want to identify an individual who is clearly involved in this, and whether they're a person of interest or a suspect, you want to debrief them and find out exactly what they know relative to the incident, whether they're the principals that moved against the victim, or whether or not they were hired by someone to move against the victim, what exactly their motivation was, and if there is a connection to some professional relationship with this company or some dissatisfaction with how this company treated clients in a way that would be problematic and, well, not necessarily require some kind of response, but clearly invoked an emotional response in the terms of the shooting.
In your experience, do suspects in such a brazen crime as this is stay close by and monitor coverage to protect themselves, or do they get out of the area as quickly as possible? My question being, how likely is it he's still in the vicinity?
Well, the detectives will certainly determine that, it's like an arsonist watching a fire. There might be a great interest. It depends on what the motivation was for the shooting. If this was clearly to send a message that this individual was dissatisfied with a decision made by the company, then he may be on his way out of New York City. If he is a local person, then he, by all likelihood, he will stay and resume his life normally and hope to evade detection.
All right. Well, we know the NYPD zeroing in on him now. Again, a person of interest. We're now seeing the face of someone they desperately want to talk to, whether or not that is, in fact, the gunman. We shall see. Wilbur Chapman, thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.